Have you ever felt like you're collecting spiritual tools, but nothing seems to stick, or in the end, it's not for you? We save the posts, we buy the books, and download the meditation apps, doing all the work we can. But honestly, do we ever actually go back to them? Maybe some of them, and they might help for a moment, and it might help a lot. But do they turn into the deep long-term fix we're actually looking for? Because when real life hits, when stress builds up, when our relationships get tested, or when we are just trying to get through a chaotic Tuesday, that sense of peace we're searching for can feel like a million miles away. And we feel like we're right back at square one. I used to ask myself, why is there such a massive gap between knowing spiritual truths and actually living them? And how do we move from that spiritual information to true spiritual mastery? That's exactly why we are here. I'd like to welcome you to the very first episode of the Spiritual Mastery Project. My name is Danais, and I'm very happy you're here. For a long time, I found myself searching, and I still do, but in a different way now. I was fascinated by the deep questions of life, the universe, and the human soul. But I also found myself frustrated. So much of the spiritual world felt out there, often overly complicated or detached from the realities of what I experienced the energies were doing. I didn't want a spirituality that only worked when I was sitting perfectly still in a quiet room, needing to live oceanside or standing on the top of a mountain. I wanted a spirituality that worked when I was stuck in traffic, when I was making tough decisions, and when I was trying to figure out who I really am. If we look closely at how a lot of people have built their spiritual ecosystems, it's clear that while some of it helps, a lot of it actually keeps them stuck. I don't want that for you. What I'm doing here is taking what works for me, taking what works for others, and pulling what actually unsticks us from many different spiritual practices and making it my own. And that is exactly what I expect you to do too. This isn't about me giving you some rigid system. If you listen to an episode and think this doesn't feel 100% right to me, that is completely okay. In fact, that is the goal. I want you to take what works for your life, discard the rest, and find what feels right to you. So I decided to build a project dedicated to bridging that gap. The Spiritual Mastery Project isn't about achieving perfection. It's about a practice. It's about turning select relevant ancient wisdom and modern insights into practical daily mastery. I am an imperfect master, a work in progress, and I am a student of this work, just like you. And at this moment, I am stepping onto this path right alongside you. Moving forward, this podcast is going to be our sanctuary. We're going to explore what it means to master our minds, connect with our spirits, and live with deep purpose. I will bring forward what I'm guided to at that time. So it's going to be different. It's going to be along our learning path. So whether you have 5 minutes on your morning commute or an hour on a weekend walk, this podcast is designed to fit into your life and feed your soul. I want to invite you to take the very first step with me today. Right now, look down at your screen and hit that subscribe or follow button in whatever podcast app you're using. This way, you'll be right there with me the second the episode goes live. If you're looking for me on social media, look up the handle Coach Danais. We'll see you soon.